Yeah.
Who all thinks that they're stressed? Or who all feels stressed here? Raise your hand. Almost everyone. Stress is something that we will all go through, not just in college, but in various aspects of our lives for the rest of our lives. I'm not here to try to convince you that I can take all of your worries away in the blink of an eye, but I'm going to inform you of what stress is, how it affects the body both mentally and physically, and some ways to help manage that stress. So what is stress? Stress is the body's way of responding to any kind of demand or threat. Stress is different and varies from people to person. You can protect yourself and improve how you think and feel by learning how to recognize the signs and symptoms of stress. And you can experience cognitive, emotional, behavioral, and physical symptoms. You can't eliminate stress completely from your life, but there are ways to manage it. Stress is some sort of feeling that people get when they're overloaded or overwhelmed and trying to cope with demands. There are both internal and external stressors. Some externals include work, school in many of our cases, relationship difficulties, money. Some internal ones, I think a lot vary person to person as well, whether it be negative self-talk, inability to accept some uncertainty, rigid thinking, jobs, family, fears, uncertainty. There's a lot of things that can cause stress within people. And I'm not here to tell you to cut those things out or that we can manage all those things, but there are some coping mechanisms that we can learn. Now that you know what stress is, let's look at how it does affect you both mentally and physically. So like I said before, stress can have cognitive, emotional, behavioral, and physical effects. Some cognitive effects, such as memory problems, inability to concentrate, poor judgment, seeing only the negative, anxious and racing thoughts, or that constant worry. Some emotional effects are depression and sadness, or just general unhappiness, some anxiety and agitation, moodiness, irritability, being fussy, losing that confidence in yourself that you may have had before. But when you're feeling stressed, a lot of people don't recognize those positive things that are even right in front of them. Some behavioral are being accident prone, loss of appetite, drinking more, smoking more, using that as a getaway, some insomnia, so lack or too much of sleep, withdrawing from others, procrastinating, or neglecting some responsibilities. I know whenever I get stressed, I tend to just throw things to the side. I don't want to deal with it. I know it's going to stress me out. I don't want to add the pressure. But there are things that we need to do and things that we have to get done. So prioritizing those things will help manage the stress. And there also is some physical effects. Sadly, there are some headaches, infections. With people who get stressed, they tend to not really acknowledge their health. They, sorry, I get caught with my words. They get rapid heart rate, frequent colds or flu, sweating, fainting, even high blood pressure. I'm sure some of you have endured these effects in the midst of college or even in the outside world, but stress does affect everybody in different ways and shapes and forms. But there are ways to help manage the stress. The first step is recognizing the stress. Everyone raised their hand saying that they were. Everyone classifies it a little bit differently, whether it's feeling overwhelmed or simply feeling there's a lot of pressure on you for one certain thing. But recognizing that it's a thing is the first step. And the next good step is to get moving. Exercise is actually a great way to relieve stress. Regular exercise can lift your mood and serve as a distraction from worries, allowing you to break that cycle of negative thoughts and feelings of stress. Another way is to connect with others. Simply talking to somebody, not even about your stress, but communicating with someone face-to-face can trigger hormones that relieve stress when you're feeling agitated or insecure. There are always those relaxation techniques such as yoga, meditation, maybe sitting down to read a book, getting your mind out of things, and deep breathing, much like I have to do while giving this speech. When practiced regularly, these activities can reduce your everyday stress levels and boost your feelings of joy and serenity. They also increase your ability to stay calm and collected under pressure. A few more discreet ways to manage stress is just staying positive. Everyone endures it. Everyone has things that they have struggles with and overwhelming, and pointing out those things and then maybe prioritizing and finding out what's important is a better way to cope. Staying positive and accepting that there are events that you cannot control. One of the biggest things is stressing about things that you can't control over, whether it's, there's a lot of traffic on your way to this exam and there's nothing you can do about it and you start freaking out and having a panic attack. There's nothing you can do about it. Take your time, take a deep breath, and think about what you can do. So now you see stress is inevitable, but there are some things that we can do to help it. There is help out there if you don't feel like what you're doing is enough. Whether it's a friend or family member to talk to is a great way, is the first step. Or if you think you need to go a step further, there are doctors and therapists and counselors that you can talk to as well. Stress, some people can endure stress. There are medications and herbs and a lot of medical things that can help you as well. So stress is something that we will all face, whether it's in our personal lives or social lives that bring it upon us, but there are short-term and long-term effects. With college being something we can all agree on that causes stress, maybe even too much for some of us at times, I feel that it's important to acknowledge the things that we can do to prevent it and manage them. Since it's inevitable, let's do what we can. Thank you.
Good. Okay.
I wonder if we could.
Who's Scott?
No, there's no hope for the video. Okay.
How do you personally deal with stress?
Repeat.
Personally, how do I deal with stress? Usually when I can tell that I feel stressed out, I try to diagnose what is stressing me. Sometimes I just feel overwhelmed and then I'm like, whoa, what do I do about that? Finding out what's stressing me out is what I do first, and then seeing, taking that deep breath,